Hey guys, Alex from 7th Hour Films back again with Demon Slayer. Last time around we had Yoriichi Type 0. I think that's how you say that. Where basically Tanjiro saved one of the Swordsmith kids. Saved, I guess that's a relative term. But saved him from Tokiko, the Mist Hashira, who wanted to use the 300-year-old training doll, to train, but it was, the kid was worried, basically, that he would break it, which technically he did. He lobbed one of its arms off, but then the kid decided, you know what, Tanjiro is going to train with him so he can get better and become the best swordsman ever, and, beat that upstart, basically. And, there was a big training regiment, and eventually Tanjiro did manage to get a good solid hit on the mechanical doll. And then the head burst off, and they realized there's a sword in there. A sword from over 300 years ago, which is actually the title of this episode. Isn't that crazy? So, like always, the reaction is down in the description and in the pinned comment for your viewing pleasure. So why don't we just go ahead and jump right into this episode of Demon Slayer. Here we go. Alright, for the record, that was all of 2.5 episodes before the fight with the demons began. And so this is episode 3 of 11. So, if I could do some simple math in my head, that's 9 more episodes? Is that correct? Or is it 8? I'm so shit at math. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It's 8. Damn it. Oh. Well, if you include this one, it was 9. Damn it. Oh. I look like an idiot. Oh, well. Yeah, I mean, that's just kind of... It's just kind of funny that, like... I don't know, because, see, I guess season 1 was pretty much like that, but, like, I found it interesting, like, how quickly, last season we got to fighting Daki, and that went on for so long, because not only did we fight Daki, we also fought Gyotaro. And now, I mean, it's kind of a similar thing, where it's like, well, we have Upper 5, the Jar Demon, and we also have Upper 4, who every time he gets decapitated, he splits off and creates a new thing. So there's plenty of things to fight, But yeah, it's just like, man, we didn't spend a whole lot of time just sort of goofing around, And not like we need, 10 episodes of just goofing around before fights kick back in, But it's just kind of funny that it's like, yep, that was 2.5 episodes, basically. I guess you could say 3.5 if you also count the finale of last season, because that was basically just the aftermath of the Entertainment District arc. So, and episode 1 was a double-length episode anyway, so I guess it's fine. It's just, I don't know, it's just funny how quickly we get to it, but at the same time, that is a good thing, because it means Demon Slayer's not going to, stick around until it's not welcomed anymore, Like, alright, by the end of the season, I feel like we're going to be getting done with Upper 5 and Upper 4. That means there's only 3 upper ranks left before Muzan himself, so I think we're in pretty good standings. Like, we got 3, I'm going to say 4 more seasons max, and honestly, I really think that's generous, But I don't know as well. I don't know. We could have longer. I don't know. I don't know the manga. I don't know the story. So, time to look up Genya's voice actor, because there was one line where I was like, that sounds familiar. So, and it's been a while since I've looked up voices anyway. Genya, Demon Slayer, voice actor, Zeno Robinson. Okay, I think I've heard that name before. Okay, that's why. I actually did think I thought that I heard this, but he voices Hawks in My Hero Academia, so that's pretty cool. Hawks was great. I always loved Hawks, and I loved his voice. So let me see if there's anything else. Okay, Attack on Titan: The Final Season. This was before. This was like Attack on Titan: The Final Season Part 1, and then Attack on Titan: The Final Season Part 2. Probably he's in Attack on Titan: The Final Season Part 3, Part 1. So, anyway. But, Onyankopon. That was cool. Yeah, he definitely... He's got such a cool voice, man. Like, it's not really coming through as Genya too hard, but... Alright. That's the most that I recognize. Once again, there's a ton of stuff the guy did that I just don't recognize, so... But that's the main stuff for me. But yeah, okay, so... I mean, look... I literally called that this was going to happen from, like, episode 5, where it's like, alright, he'll be an endearing character later. He is still kind of a dick, though. You know, but, man, Tanjiro's such a better person than I am, because as soon as I see this guy, I would just, like, write him off for a long time. To be like, oh, there's that asshole? Alright, cool, I'm gonna avoid that guy. Like, why would I want to be around that person? They're terrible, you know? But Tanjiro is a better man than I am, because he was already convinced they were friends, you know? But yeah, so that's at least interesting. I like that. And I mean, even Tokiko, you know? Again, like, I wouldn't even, like, write him off as, like, a jerk or anything. And just, like, okay, here's a guy who's, you know, he's very logical, you know? He thinks very logically, and he doesn't really have much human empathy. And I just kind of write him off. But even here, what was the other example of that? I feel like it was in season 1, but I can't remember. But I feel like there was another example of that in, like, season 1, maybe, where it was like, oh, you know, they thought of Tanjiro, and thus they kind of changed their attitude. What was that? Because I don't think that was... Well, I guess there's Kanao, but it's not really changing her attitude. That's just her, you know, doing something of her own accord, you know, not flipping the coin. But I can't remember if there was something else. I can't remember. So maybe that's just what I'm thinking of, but yeah. But I do like that, at least, that he's, you know, that he did think, you know, he did kind of go against his logical sort of mind and went and saved, what's the kid's name? Was it Haruka? It was something like that. I don't know why that's coming to my head, but maybe that is his name. I can't remember. But I like that. I like him going and doing that for him. So that's good. And honestly, look, half of this show, and not even, I guess, just because of, you know, how frequent and how long these fights are, but, like, half of the show is, you know, shonen anime fights, and the other half is just every character being a cinnamon roll, and that's it. Like, this is the ideal show to bring in shonen, you know, fighting anime fans and people that love wholesome cinnamon rolls. Because, I mean, just that scene where they're talking and they all have the, you know, the more simplistic, you know, kind of chibi art style, and, you know, they're all like, you know, and you got small Nezuko with her braided hair, and they're all kind of doing that, and it's like, okay. It's like, this show is designed so that you call everyone a cinnamon roll, you know? Even down to, I mean, probably even some of the demons, mainly just, what was it, Upper 2? That guy. Like, I could totally see some people drawing fan art of him and calling him a cinnamon roll, and it's like, that's great. He's a mass murderer, because he's a demon, you know? Mainly because he's an upper rank. Granted, I don't think anyone Although it's the internet, I don't think anyone would be calling Gyutaro a cinnamon roll. But I mean, this is definitely that. So now, granted, I like it. It's funny, you know. It's not because I mean, you get some, and this is not to bash other shonen anime. I like shonen fight anime, you know. But I do like that you can kind of get those moments, you know, which honestly I think just makes this all the more like family friendly, you know? Like if you showed this to a kid, it might be okay. It might be okay. Like I know this is a big sort of family friendly show in Japan, and I know it's huge in Japan, and the movie, the Mugen Train movie went crazy in Japan, but yeah, like I can kind of see it because like all of the characters, you know, they're good, they're wholesome, you know, even the bigger jerks aren't really that bad. Like okay, maybe the guy that had, you know, too many scars and it was stabbing Nezuko, but see that's my other thing is that it's like, you know, if it is wholesome family fun in Japan, I just think that's so amazing just because of how violent this show can get. I mean, just last episode, or last season, like, that fight got so brutal and so bloody and so violent, but, And even, I mean, just the whole thing is about decapitations, you know, but I just love that idea that just, no, this is wholesome family fun. Killing demons, you know? I don't know, I'm off topic, but the main point I was trying to make was, alright, Genya, he's not that bad. Mainly because, even in his sort of jerk, like, he's gone from being just an outright jerk to more just being a goofy tsundere, I guess, you know? And that's fine. So, I love that he has a Nichirin gun. That is so stupid that I love it. Like, that's some crap where, like, Joseph Joestar pulls out a Tommy gun or something. Like, I love that. That's such nonsense, but it's hilarious, you know? They actually made him a Nichirin gun. Now, he still has a sword, and I like that. You know, he's kind of got this, like... With that, I feel like he's kind of got, like, this John Wick thing going on, you know? And I love... See, that's actually one thing... I'd love to see more of this in action, where someone is basically dual-wielding. One hand has a gun, one hand has a sword. Because that would be really interesting. You know, you see shows... I guess Cowboy Bebop is a good example. I just finished rewatching that. And, you know, whenever you have a fight between Spike and Vicious... You know, Vicious has his sword, Spike has a gun, and they are still evenly matched, you know? And that's hilarious, you know? Or if you watch something like, you know, The Mandalorian or something, where it's like you have a blaster and a lightsaber, it's like, well, that's really cool. I wish there was more of that in fiction. So I like Genya doing that, having a gun and a sword at the same time, you know? So that's a really interesting... just a really interesting combination. As goofy as it is of he has a gun that can kill demons, you know? But yeah, but that, honestly, that's really cool. So, yeah, what else? I mean, it's interesting designs on the upper fours. And I like how they differentiate it immediately from Daki and Gyotaro. Because, you know, at first it's like, oh, okay, there's just two of them again. And then it keeps going. It's like, oh no, now there's four of them. And they all have these crazy different powers, you know? Like, it's honestly an interesting thing going back to the Entertainment District arc where it's like, yeah, this is like an actual sword fight, you know? And we haven't really had that. Like, we've had sword versus spiderweb, sword versus... dreams, I guess, sword versus train, I guess, in the case of Enmu. And, like, the closest we've had is sword versus fist in Rengoku versus Akaza. But I did like that it's like, yeah, his sickles, I mean, they're basically just swords, you know, they're just obviously, they are obviously different, but they're very close, they're blades, you know? But now here, it's like, okay, I don't know. There's a bird chicken man that screams. Well, that's different. That's different. We'll have to see what he can do with that. Of course, the problem is, like, if you cut off his head, do two more take its place, you know? Is this demon just a Hydra, basically? I guess that's basically it, so... but I mean, he's definitely gotten more interesting. Because, yeah, at first, you know, for a while, it's like, okay, so here's this guy. Well, he's got to be able to do something cool, because he's not really cool, you know? So, but they did... They obviously pulled it off, so I'm curious to see how this fight will progress, you know? I like Nezuko just immediately going into demon form, you know? Like, that was really cool. Hopefully she controls it a bit more, you know? But yeah, so all of that, very, very interesting. I guess that's pretty much it. Obviously, at this point, we know from watching the OP and the ED, there will be more of Mitsuri, so she'll come back at some point, but yeah, honestly, so far, it's an interesting setup. I will say, I don't really care about Upper 5. Like, I hope he does have a cool fight, but now that we have all this stuff with Upper 4, I'm like, okay, and Upper 5 is there too. Like, alright, sure, but, we'll see. We'll see. But that is basically it. Oh, I didn't talk about the sword or anything, but Haganeska will, you know, come back and after Tanjiro breaks his sword and he'll give him the new polished sword. So, yeah. Anyway, with all that being said, I'm Alex from 7th Hour Films, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. There's a bunch of links on screen if you want to go click around any of those. There's a playlist with all of my Demon Slayer reactions, as well as another video you can go click on if you want. There's also a subscribe button and a Patreon button on screen, as well as other links in the description if you want to go check out any of those. See you guys later.